आवाज येतोय माझा? हॅलो.
हो येतोय मॅम. हा येतोय मॅम.
Okay, please turn on your camera quickly. Okay, great. So, we will be starting with Unit 1 today, that is Please Call Me Beth. Uh, as you know, most of the time I will be speaking in English. You have to ask me if you do not understand anything. Okay? मी मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स
ओके
इंग्लिशमध्ये बोलणार आहे. काही कळलं नाही मला परत विचारायचं. ओके?
ओके मॅम. ओके.
Understood? Okay. First,
येस
as
मॅम.
it's our first session today, let us start with your introduction.
Yeah, my name is ma'am Shivraj Bhosle. I am basically from Sangli. So I am now living in Pune
Mm-hmm.
and my qualification is BBA first year.
Okay. And why do you want to learn English, if I may ask?
Mm, by ma'am, I learning to English because educational purpose and
Mm-hmm.
I want to speak in English fluently and
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's it?
yes ma'am.
Okay. Now you already know me. I am Susmita. We have already spoken
Yes
on
ma'am.
call. So I am not going to give you my long introduction. I will do that
Yeah.
once we have prepared an introduction just to show you how we give an introduction. But I will do that once everyone is in the session. Maybe on Wednesday or Thursday. Okay?
Okay.
Now,
Okay
as
ma'am.
I told you, let us move ahead with today's session. You might already know, you have already gone through the brochure. We have various units that we cover which revolve around
Yeah.
various themes. Okay, so today's unit that we
Okay.
have, or module you can call it, the name of the unit is Please Call Me Beth. म्हणजे मला प्लीज बेथ म्हणून बोला. ठीक आहे, आवाज द्या.
Okay.
माझी मराठी एवढी चांगली
Ah,
नाही आहे. इफ यू डू नॉट अंडरस्टँड एनिथिंग आस्क मी अगेन. ओके, नेक्स्ट ओवर
okay.
हियर वी हैव अ कॉन्वर्जेशन. I want you to quickly read the conversation loudly. Okay?
Yeah ma'am. Okay. David. Hello, I'm David Garza. I am a new club member. Beth, hi. My name is Elizabeth Silva, but please call me Beth. David, okay. Where are you from? Beth, Beth, Brazil. How about you, David? David said, I am from Mexico. Beth said, oh, I love Mexico. It's really beautiful. Beth said, oh, good. Son, he is here. David, David said, whose son he? Beth said, she's my classmate. We're in the same math class. David said, where is she from? Beth, South Korea. Let's go and say hello. Sorry, what's your last name again? Garcia. David said, actually, it's Garza. Beth said, how do you spell that? David said, Garza.
Very good. Okay, now here in the picture we can see that they are at the international club. What do we mean by international club? When you go to a foreign university, most of the times you have different clubs over there, correct? Now this club in
Yes, ma'am.
particular is called international club because students have come from various regions. Okay, they are not from
Yes,
the locality, they have come from various regions. So you know that when you go to a foreign country, even when you go to a foreign city, we feel lonely, right? We feel we don't have our friends, we don't have our family over there. So
yes,
we
yes,
have to basically get to know each other so that we survive over there, right? So the college over here has arranged a gathering, we could say, where the students from various regions could meet each other and get to know each other and make friends, of course. So here David went first and introduced himself by saying, hello, I'm David Garza. Now that is how we introduce ourselves. Okay, now first thing over here, I know you did not give your introduction like that, but many people they start their introduction by saying myself David, okay, or myself Susmita. Now That is not the correct way of giving an introduction. Okay, you never use the word myself to introduce yourself. You either say I am Shivraj,
Yeah.
or you will say this is Shivraj, max to max, or best way to say is my name is Shivraj.
Sure.
Okay, but you do not use the word myself.
Yeah.
Okay, myself मतलब क्या, खुद से. उसका मीनिंग क्या होता है एग्जैक्ट, खुद से. तो हम ऐसे
खुद से.
बोलते हैं क्या कि मैं खुद से सुस्मिता हूँ, ऐसे मैं बोल सकती हूँ? नहीं, दैट्स इनकरेक्ट वे ऑफ सेइंग. सो सेम वे व्हेन वी से इन इंग्लिश माई सेल्फ सुस्मिता, इट्स इनकरेक्ट. Okay, so
Yeah.
here he is introducing himself. Then he says I am a new club member here. So he's giving a basic introduction, like a basic phrase which will tell something about him. Okay, next of course Elizabeth also introduces herself by saying my name is Elizabeth Silva, but of course that name is very big, correct?
Okay.
So she says
Yeah.
please call me Beth. It's a nickname.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
understand this, we say pet name, but pet name nasta, it's called
Yeah.
nickname. Okay,
Nick.
or a short name. So he's asking where are you from, Beth? She says Brazil. How about you? How about you मतलब क्या, same question to you, आप कहाँ से हो? Okay,
France.
हाँ, I am from Mexico. Then she says, oh, I love Mexico, it is really beautiful. Then in the second part of the conversation they are talking about Sunhi. Sunhi is Beth's classmate, she already said over here. Now the most important point to understand over here is that whenever we are conversing, we have three people involved in the conversation. Okay, first is first person. Yeah, first person is the speaker. For example, मैं अभी बात कर रही हूँ, so I am the speaker, I am the first
Speaker.
person. Okay, so what are the words that I will use? I will use the words like I, we, correct? These are the words that I will use. Then we have second person. Second person कौन रहता है? जो हमें सुन रहा है. Now you
सुन
are
रहा है.
listening to me, so you are the listener. So what are the words that I am using for you? You. Correct? Now as we keep conversing, the roles of first person and second person keep changing. Okay, as soon as I start speaking I am the first person, but as soon as you start speaking I become the second person. Okay, so the roles will keep changing according to the conversation. Now
Oh.
most important that we have is the third person. Third person is the person that we are talking about. Okay, जिसके बारे में हम बात कर रहे हैं. That person can be involved in the conversation or he can not be involved in the conversation sometimes. For example, Apurva has not joined the class. Apurva has not joined the class. Now Apurva is one of our student, correct? अपनी batchmate है.
Yeah.
She has not joined. Is she involved in the conversation right now? Not really, correct? But we are still talking about her. So she is the third person over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I said, third person can be involved in the conversation, cannot be involved in the conversation sometimes, but most of the times we can say वो involved नहीं होते हैं conversation में. Okay, थर्ड पर्सन सिंगुलर भी हो सकता है, प्लूरल भी हो सकता है. सिंगुलर मतलब क्या, व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग ओनली अबाउट वन पर्सन. प्लूरल,
One person.
या प्लूरल इज
अनेक वचन.
टू.
Yeah. Two or more.
Correct, two or more. Now for us, third person singular is very important. The words he, she, it या फिर name of that person. ठीक है, I can say she has not joined the class or I will say Apurva has not joined the class. Okay, तो the words he, she, it become important over here, and उसके साथ में ना हमारे बहुत सारे ग्रामर रूल्स चेंज होते हैं. कैसे चेंज होते हैं वो हम आगे देखने वाले हैं. Okay, but these third, like this rule of third person singular is very very important for us, and that's something that we will have to remember. Okay, now example over here they are talking about Sunhi. So Sunhi is here. Then who is Sunhi? She is my classmate. We are in the same
Classmate.
math class. Where is she from? South Korea. Now here she has forgotten the information, so she is asking, sorry, what is your last name again? Garcia. Now that's what happens, right? When the names are unique, when the names are new for us, we don't understand their pronunciation, we don't understand how to say it exactly, correct? So this is how we can ask for repetition. Okay, I'm sorry, what's your last name again? Garcia. Then he says actually it's Garza. Then of course she did not understand the pronunciation because the accents could be different. So he asks, sorry, she asks, how do you spell that? So he says Garza. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now quickly let us listen to the conversation over here. Yeah, I'm gonna play the
Yes.
conversation, we'll listen to it.
Unit 1. Please call me Beth. Page 2, Exercise 1, Conversation. Where are you from? Listen and practice.
Hello, I'm David Garza. I'm a new club member.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Silva, but please call me Beth.
Okay, where are you from, Beth?
Brazil. How about you?
I'm from Mexico.
Oh, I love Mexico. It's really beautiful. Oh, good. Sun Hee is here.
Whose son he?
She's my classmate. We're in the same math class.
Where's she from?
South Korea. Let's go and say hello. Sorry, what's your last name again? Garcia?
Actually, it's Garza.
How do you spell that?
Garza.
Okay, now here he says Garza. Now why does he
Page
say
Unit 1.
sorry? Why does he say ZA? Manke tu, when you said it, you said ZA, correct? Why
Yeah,
did
ma'am.
he say
Yeah.
ZA?
Said
Is it wrong English?
ZA. No, ma'am.
Then
Maybe accent.
maybe
Accent, ma'am.
accent क्या?
वो शायद उधर उनका थोड़ा वो बोल accent या
Now you might know when we talk about English as a language, English is one language, but it also has variations. Okay. Now for example, in Maharashtra we speak Marathi, correct? But as you change regions, Marathi changes. You know that, right? If you go to Nagpur, they have various like a different type of speaking Marathi. If you go to Konkan, they have different way of speaking Marathi. As soon as you come to Pune, we have different way of talking in Pune, correct? The language is the
Yeah,
same.
correct.
It's Marathi, but it changes according to regions, correct?
Yes.
Same way, even English has different variations. Okay, when you refer to British English, it has one variation. When you refer to American English, it has different variation. And then of course we have Indian English, and we have very funny way of using words also in Indian English. Okay, now I'll give you some examples over here. Indian in British English, we use the word Z, A B C D Z असं आपण म्हणतो, right? But in American English, they use Z instead of Z. Okay. Same way, if you look at some words also change. For example, we use the word aeroplane. Correct? In America, if you go there, they will use the word airplane. We know the word lift and elevator both. Correct? Elevator is American English and lift is your British English. Okay? The words they change. Of course, the meaning remains the same. The words they change. But if you go to Britain and if you go to London, if you use the word elevator, they will be like, what is that? Okay, so we have to understand these words that change according to regions. That's the first thing. And another thing is, many people they correct you on these things कि नहीं ये correct है ये correct नहीं है ऐसे करके बराबर. So there is no right or wrong
Yes.
English over here. Okay, it's just different regions. Same way people debate about whether the word is schedule or schedule. Schedule and schedule both are correct over here. Okay,
Sure.
they change according to the accents that we are referring to, or the language, the English that we are referring to. Okay, and then we have Indian English, which is very very funny, where we use I am here only. So it's incorrect way of saying it, but we'll look at that sometime later. Okay, then again in our British English and American English, sometimes spellings also change. For example, for
Why?
some words, summarize, for example the word summarize, sometimes we might use S, sometimes we might use Z. Okay, sometimes for the word color, We might use COLOUR.
Yellow, you are.
Sometimes we might use COLOR. Both are correct over here. Okay, but according to the region they change. In British English we use OUR, in American English we use OR. That's the only difference over here. Now most of the times, as we are from say SSC board or CBSE board, we will use the words which are common in British English. Okay, but if you look
Okay.
at ICSE curriculum, most of the times they will use the words which are common in American English. Okay, so that's why these kinds of debate you might have heard your friends also who are from ICSE board. They might just tell you कि नहीं ये correct नहीं है, ये correct है करके. So कोई भी correct incorrect नहीं है यहाँ पर. Here we just have to understand which language variation we are using. Okay, then of course we have
Okay.
African English also, we have Australian English also. सारे different regions से आते हैं. I'm not talking about accents over here. I'm talking about the language. I'm talking about the words and the spellings over here. Okay, understand that. Accent of course differ करता ही है. Yeah, but I'm talking about the words. Now over
What?
here you have a quick exercise. Here some phrases have been given on the left and the responses to them are given on the right. Okay, you have to match them.
Okay.
Do it quickly.
Yes. I'm there.
Mm-hmm. Tell me the responses. I'm sorry, what's your name again?
It's Elizabeth Silva.
Very good. What do people call you?
Uh, Everyone calls me Beth.
Very good. How do you spell your last name?
Uh, Silva.
You will spell
S
it out. Spell,
Silva.
Very good. Now I'm going to ask you the same questions again. You have to answer questions about you. Okay? आपने आपके बारे में आंसर करने हैं questions. I'm sorry, what's your name again?
My name is Shivraj Suresh Bhosle.
Very good. What do people call you?
Call me Raj. People
Everyone
call me
calls
Raj.
me. Everyone calls me, or people call me. Yeah, both are correct. Raj. Okay. How do you spell your last name?
Uh, Raj.
Last name. That's not your last name. What is your first name?
Yeah,
First name is Shivraj. Last name is your
Shivraj.
surname.
Last name is Bhosle. Yeah,
Huh.
Bhosle. Bhosal.
Very good. Understood?
Yeah.
हाँ, last name is your surname. अपन surname
So,
म्हणतो,
yeah,
but it's actually last name. Okay.
last
Surname
name.
is again
Yes.
very Indian English. I just told you na there are variations in English.
Mm.
So surname is Indian English
Surname, last
word.
name.
हाँ. So last name is bit common around the world. Yeah.
Yes.
Clear till now?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Very good. Now here we have second part of the conversation. Now we know that Beth and David decided to go and meet Sunhi. Correct? Now here we have Sunhi who is being introduced over here to David. Now let's see the conversation. I want you to quickly read it loudly again.
Okay.
Read it loudly.
Okay. Beth said, Son, this is David Garza. He's a new club member from Mexico. Son, he said, nice to meet you, David. I am Sunhi Park. David said, hi. So you are from South Korea? Son, he said, that's right. I am from Seoul.
Seoul. I'm from
David
Seoul.
said,
The pronunciation is Seoul.
so, okay. So David said, that's cool. What's the soul like? Sunny said, it's really nice. It's very exciting city.
Very good. Okay. Understood? Basically,
Yes.
they are introducing
Yes.
over here. Correct? Beth, as she's a common friend between both of them right now, she introduced by saying, Sunny, this is David Garza. He is a new club member from Mexico. Then, of course, whenever we meet someone, we say, nice to meet you. It is nice
Meeting.
to meet you. Usually, we say it while going, but over here, as they are meeting for the first time, they will say it at the start. Okay, nice to meet you, David. I am Sunhee Park. So she's telling her full name over here. So he already knows that she's from South Korea, but just to make that small talk, he's saying, oh, so you are from South Korea? She says, that's right. I am from Seoul. Seoul is the capital city of South Korea.
Oh,
Okay, so he says that's cool. Now this is very important but a very odd question structure. What is soul like? What do we mean by what is soul like?
सोल क्या है वो? व्हाट्स द ये सोल क्या है? तो
सोल कैसी सिटी है, क्या नहीं
कैसी है?
कैसी सिटी है. ओके, नाउ हियर वी आर नॉट आस्किंग कि उसको क्या पसंद है. ये लाइक पसंद वाला लाइक नहीं है. ओके, वी आर सेइंग व्हाट इज सोल लाइक,
लाइक
बिकॉज we
कैसी
are asking कि वो कैसी सिटी है. Now same way
कैसी?
we can ask what is Shivraj like. I'm asking this question to understand what kind of a person he is. Okay, so the subject over here can change, but the question structure will remain the same. Here we are asking this question to understand someone's nature or behavior. Okay, so remember this question
ओके
structure because we will see this question structure again and again in our portion. Okay, so
ओके
make sure you remember, don't get confused. Here
या
she says it's really nice, it is a very exciting city. Okay, now the most important rule over here that we need to understand is that whenever we introduce someone, okay, it is very very important that, like, there are two rules to this. It is very very important. Shivraj, you can mute yourself for some time, there is a background noise.
या
The first important rule is that whenever you introduce someone, whoever is older or senior, you will introduce that person first. Okay, now over here also, as David is new and she already knows Sunhee, so she is introducing David first. That's an etiquette. Okay, of course in India we don't follow etiquettes, but I want my students to follow it. That is the reason I am highlighting this point. Okay, so जो कोई बड़ा रहता है उसको, या फिर जो भी नया है उसको हम पहले इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे. Okay, for example, say you are in a work environment, you have your boss and you have a new colleague who has joined today. Whom will you introduce first? Boss. Yeah, you will introduce your boss first because he is the older over there, he is the senior over there. Correct? Same way, if you have your parents and your friend, you will introduce your parents first. Okay, that's what we have to remember over here. uh, Along with that, if you want, you can use the other person's name. For example, here she said Sunhee, this is David Garza. So even David knows कि वो किसको introduce करा रही है. ठीक है? Another rule that we have to remember is that whenever we introduce someone, we have to tell something which is common between both of them. Why? Imagine that you are in a party, you are hosting that party, मतलब तुमने वो पार्टी अरेंज की है. ठीक है? Now वहाँ पर ऑफ कोर्स 50-100 लोग रहेंगे. कैन यू बी विद एवरीवन? नो, राइट? यू विल नीड टू cater to all the things over there. So what you can do over there is you can tell something which is common between both of them so they can continue the conversation. For example, say both your friends like Virat Kohli, then you will say that okay, even Shivraj likes Virat Kohli, and then they can talk about the match which was last, or World Cup, or anything that is common. Correct? Same way, if someone likes cars, you can say, oh, even he is a fan of cars. ऐसे करके you can just tell something which is common between both of them so that they both can continue the conversation. Understood? That is how you introduce someone. Clear? Okay. Now let us again quickly listen to this conversation. Okay.
Page 3, Exercise 3, Conversation. What's soul like? Part A. Listen and practice.
Sun-hee, this is David Garza. He's a new club member from Mexico.
Nice to meet you, David. I'm Sun-hee Park.
Hi. So you're from South Korea?
That's right. I'm from Seoul.
That's cool. What's Seoul like?
It's really nice. It's a very exciting city.
Page
Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we will listen to the second part of the conversation. हाँ conversation लिलेला नहीं है, ये conversation लिखा हुआ नहीं है, हमें सिर्फ सुनना है.
हाँ.
Okay? And you have to try to answer the question, what city is David from and what is it like? Okay? David कहाँ से है and वो city कैसी है? Yeah? Clear?
Yes.
3, Exercise 3, Part B. Listen to the rest of the conversation. What city is David from? What's it like?
Okay, wait.
Page 3. Page 3, Exercise 3, Part B. Listen to the rest of the conversation. What city is David from? What's it like?
So, David, where are you from?
I'm from Mexico.
Really? What city?
Mexico City.
Wow. What's it like there?
Well, it's a big city and very busy, but I like it a lot.
Okay, what city is David from?
Mexico City.
Okay. And tell me in full sentence. Okay, one word answer mat do, full sentence answer do.
Okay,
David
ma'am.
is from Mexico City.
David is from Mexico City.
Okay. And what is it like?
It's
You
big
have-
city and busy city.
Yeah, very good. It is a big city and very busy city.
Busy city.
Very good. Understood how to answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
Yeah.
The conversation was clear. There is no confusion in the conversation, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, here we have a pronunciation rule. The pronunciation rule over here is that whenever the final consonant sounds are there, they are often linked to the vowel sounds that follow them. Now, what are consonants and what are vowels? आई नो बहुत बेसिक है, हमने स्कूल में सीखा रहता है, बट बहुत बार स्टूडेंट्स को याद नहीं रहता. दैट्स द रीजन वी आर क्विकली रिवाइजिंग इट. ओके, व्हाट आर वावल्स एंड व्हाट आर कॉन्सोनेंट्स?
Vowels and A and the man.
Vowels are A, E, I,
The
O, U.
article.
हाँ.
Yeah, A, E, I, O, C.
हाँ.
5
A
vowels.
and
A,
are
E, I, O, U.
articles. हाँ. Vowels
A
are
and the article.
हाँ. A, E, I, O, U. The letters A, E, I, O, U are our
I-O-U.
vowels over here. Okay, and all the other letters are the consonants. Now what are we saying? कि जो कोई भी word अगर consonant से end हो रहा है and आगे वाला word जो है वो अगर vowel से start हो रहा है तो हमारा जो sound है वो mix हो जाता है या फिर link हो जाता है. Now do we have to try to link these sounds? No. बट अगर वो नेचुरली लिंक हो रहे हैं सो इट्स वेरी नेचुरल. बट हमें ध्यान कहाँ रखना है? जब हम एक आधा कॉन्वर्सेशन सुन रहे हैं. ओके, दैट्स व्हेन वी हैव टू फोकस ऑन दीज साउंड्स एंड दैट इज द रीजन वी गेट कंफ्यूज्ड आल्सो समटाइम्स. ओके, कि सामने वाला जब हम
Yes.
सीरीज देखते हैं, मूवीज देखते हैं, हम इसी वजह से कंफ्यूज होते हैं कि सामने वाला क्या बोल रहा है, समझ में नहीं आता, बिकॉज दीज साउंड्स गेट लिंक्ड एंड वो ऐसे लगता है वो एक वर्ड है पूरा. That is where we have to focus. For example, I am a new club member. I am a new club member. That's how the person will say. Sunny is over there. My name is Elizabeth Silva. So पूरा name is Elizabeth ऐसा लगता है कि एक ही word है करके.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where we have to focus. Let us quickly listen to this part again. Okay?
Page 3, Exercise 4, Pronunciation. Linked sounds. Listen and practice. Notice how final consonant sounds are often linked to the vowels that follow them.
I'm a new club member. Sun-hee is over there. My name is Elizabeth Silva.
Okay? Understood?
Page 3, exercise.
Okay. Now we have the grammar rule for today. As I told you that first person, second person and third person are important for us. Okay, that's the first part that we look at over here, that whenever we are conversing we have the first person who is the speaker. In singular we will use the word I, and we will, in plural we will use the word we. Okay, we.
We.
In second person we have the listener. We will use the word you for singular as well as plural. बहुत बार प्लूरल में लोग you all यूज करते हैं. It's common but it's not formal, it's informal. Okay. Then third person में आता है हमारा singular and plural. Singular में we will use he, she, it or name of that person. In plural we will use the word they or name of two or more people. Okay. Example, Apurva.
There are two people.
Go on. Give me the example.
There are two people.
They are talking over there. ऐसे बोल
They are
सकते हो.
talking.
They are talking. Okay, they are talking
There are
to
two
each other.
people.
हाँ, people रहता है, peoples नहीं रहता. Okay.
Hmm.
People word is already plural, so we don't make it plural again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another example that we can take over here is, I can say Apurva is absent today. Correct. Or for plural I can say Apurva and Rudrani are absent today. Yeah, that's how I can
Yeah.
give examples over here. Okay. Then the next thing that we have to understand is the types of statements that we have while speaking. Now of course there are many types of statements, but these three types are important for us when we speak to someone. Okay, when we converse on everyday basis. The first type of statement is the positive statement. For example, if I say I am Susmita, it's a normal statement.
No.
Correct. Then we have negative statement. Negative, नकारात्मक हम जो बोलते हैं ना हिंदी या मराठी में. Whenever we use the word not in a sentence. For example, I can say I am not Rudrani. Correct. So it becomes a negative statement. Then we have interrogative statements.
Interrogative.
Interrogative is when we ask questions. Yeah. Now again, questions are of two types that we have. First one is our WH question, which is also called open-ended, and the next one is yes and no question, which is also called close-ended. Now I will ask you two questions over here. You have to try to answer. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Shivraj, do you have a laptop?
Yes, ma'am. I have a laptop.
Okay. Now here you said yes, I have a laptop. Okay.
Laptop.
Hold on to that answer. Now second question. Which laptop do you have, Shivraj?
I have a HP laptop, ma'am.
Very good. Now in the first question I asked you, do you have a laptop? Correct. So it was a yes and no question. Okay.
Yes,
Here you can only give a response by saying yes, I have a laptop, or no, I don't. ये दो ही पॉसिबल आंसर है, इससे ज़्यादा कोई आंसर आप दे नहीं सकते हो. बट पहला जो मैंने सेकेंड क्वेश्चन पूछा, विच लैपटॉप डू यू हैव, हियर द आंसर कैन वेरी. करेक्ट. आंसर कैन बी वेरी लॉन्ग ऑल्सो. यू कैन राइट एन एसे ऑल्सो ऑन द टॉपिक. ओके, विच लैपटॉप डू यू हैव, इस पे आप 2 पन्ने का पूरा ऐसे लिख सकते हो. करेक्ट. Talking about the features, just exaggerating it of course, but that is why it is called open ended question, कि इस पे हमें explanatory आंसर देना है. Whereas yes and no question जब भी पूछा जाता है, सिर्फ yes या फिर no, यही 2 possible responses होते हैं. Now these statement types are important for us because in the next unit when we look at tenses, we will be looking at how the sentence structures change in all 3 statements. Okay, and ये चेंज होते ही है, तो वो हम बार बार देखेंगे. सो यू हैव टू, आई वुडंट से कि यू हैव टू रट्टोफाई, बट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दीज 3 टाइप्स ऑफ स्टेटमेंट्स. ठीक है. क्वेश्चंस कैसे बनाने ये भी हमें पता होना चाहिए. दैट्स व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से ओवर हियर. नेक्स्ट थिंग दैट वी हैव ओवर हियर इज स्टेटमेंट्स विद बी. नाउ यू ऑलरेडी माइट नो दैट whenever we make statements in English, we have a sentence structure that we follow. Okay, the sentence will always start with a subject, then it will be followed by a verb, and then we have an object. Now what do we mean by subject? Subject is the main thing that we are talking about. For example, let's take the same statement again that we used previously. Apurva is absent today. Okay, now here in this sentence we are saying Apurva. Apurva is the main subject over here. Is ये हमारा verb है, and then absent today ये हमारा object part है. ठीक है. Same way I can say Shivraj is looking at the screen. Looking is the main verb over here. Okay, at the screen is our object part
Subject.
over. Object. Subject is Shivraj ना, जिसके बारे में हम बात कर रहे हैं. Understood?
Yes,
Now of course हम सिर्फ subject and verb भी use कर सकते हैं, but sometimes it gives us incomplete information. For example, if I just say Shivraj is looking, क्या देख रहा है वो, क्यों देख रहा है वो, क्या ये question आ जाता है, right? So that's why we need
Yes.
object also, which gives us more information about the sentence. Okay. Now most important thing over here that we need to understand is हम क्या करते हैं, हम जब भी हमें इंग्लिश में बात करना रहता है हम ट्रांसलेशन मेथड यूज करते हैं. करेक्ट. हम करते हैं पहले हमारे सेंटेंसेस मराठी या फिर हिंदी में बनाते हैं अकॉर्डिंग टू आवर नेटिव लैंग्वेज, एंड देन वी ट्रांसलेट इट टू इंग्लिश.
English.
Now somehow when it's a small sentence it works, but when it's a longer sentence it does not work. Why? Because the sentence structures in Marathi or Hindi are different than English. Okay, in Marathi the sentence structure, in Marathi or Hindi both, the sentence structures that we follow are subject, object and then verb. मैंने खाना खाया, खाया ये हमारा verb है, लास्ट में आ रहा है. ओके, बट जब हम उसको इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट करने जाते हैं तब हम एज इट इज करने का ट्राई करते हैं एंड वहाँ पर हम गलती कर देते हैं. नाउ व्हाट आई सजेस्ट इज दैट व्हेनेवर यू मेक sentences in English, whenever you try to speak in English, the first thing that you have to do is make sentences in English directly. Of course when you started you might face lot of issues, वर्ड्स नहीं याद आएंगे, वर्ड्स नहीं पता चलेंगे कौन से यूज करने हैं, बट सी हमें बेसिक रूल्स ऑलरेडी पता होते हैं. ओके, हमने सीखे रहते हैं, इतना डिफिकल्ट नहीं रहता. ग्रामर में हम मिस्टेक करते हैं, बट एज वी आर लर्निंग ग्रामर यू हैव टू स्टार्ट इम्प्लीमेंटिंग दैट ऑल्सो. ठीक है. द मेन थिंग इज दैट यू हैव टू ट्राई मेकिंग, एज ऑफ नाउ आई वुड से फॉर द फर्स्ट यूनिट, फॉर द फर्स्ट 2-3 days you have to try to make sentences fully in English by not using the translation method. ठीक है. Directly English में sentences बनाओ. That's the first aim that we should have. Second thing that you have to focus is that try thinking in English directly. Instead of बोलते ना ट्रांसलेट करने से बेटर है कि हम डायरेक्टली इंग्लिश में सोचना स्टार्ट करें. बट इज इट इजी? ऑफ कोर्स इट्स इजियर सेड देन डन. करेक्ट. फर्स्ट थिंग दैट यू हैव टू डू इज, हाँ, सो पहले आप क्या करोगे कि आप खुद को ना फोर्स करोगे इंग्लिश में थिंक करने के लिए. Okay, for, and it's not, when I'm saying it, it's not a very small process, it's a year long process. Okay, and this is the feedback given by my students. मेरे students ने मुझे खुद ने बताया है कि मैम हम ये इतने दिनों से प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, अभी जाके हम ये 100% इम्प्लीमेंट कर पा रहे हैं. ठीक है. सो इट्स अ year long process. You have to start forcing yourself to think in English now, and आफ्टर अ वाइल यू विल सी कि आपका जो माइंड है वो सबकॉन्शियसली इंग्लिश में थिंक कर रहा है. ठीक है. बट टू रीच दैट स्टेज यू नीड 4 to 6 months ऑफ प्रैक्टिस. एंड ये प्रैक्टिस सिर्फ ऐसे ही होती है क्या? नहीं, यू हैव टू डिलिबरेटली डू इट. ओके, सो दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. क्लियर?
Yes.
Next, as I told you, here we are looking at the statements with be. Be is our basic verb that we have. Okay, be is nothing but कोई चीज होना, काही गोष्ट असणे. That is the verb be. Now verb be is very funny. Okay, we don't use it as it is. Most of the times we change it to is, am, are and we use it. Yeah. So whenever we have the subject I, we will use am. For you we will use are, बट विथ ही शी इट वी विल यूज इज. रिमेंबर मैंने स्टार्ट में बताया कि हमारे जो रूल्स है वो ही शी इट के साथ में ज़्यादा चेंज होते हैं, इसीलिए हमारे लिए ये इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. ओवर हियर ओनली यू कैन सी कि ही शी इट के साथ में हम इज यूज़ कर रहे हैं, बट बाकी सारे सब्जेक्ट्स के साथ में हम आर यूज़ कर रहे हैं ओवर हियर. ओके, दैट्स हाउ आवर रूल्स चेंज. क्लियर? Any questions? Any
Yes, ma'am.
doubts? Okay. Second
Mm,
grammar rule that we have over here is possessive adjectives. Now, what are possessive adjectives? Possessive adjectives are nothing but the words which we use to express possession or ownership. But before we go to possessive adjectives, we need to understand what are adjectives. And to understand adjectives, we need to understand what are nouns and pronouns. Okay? Nouns are the words which we use to refer to names of people, places, and things. Okay, for example, if I say Shivraj, that is also a noun. If I say student, even that's a noun. If I say Pune,
mm,
even that's a noun. If I say
no.
laptop, even that is a noun. Yeah. Then we have
Yes.
pronouns. Pronouns are nothing but the words that we use to refer to the nouns, to replace the nouns. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं हमेशा ये बोल सकती हूँ क्या, ओके, शिवराज वेक्स अप अर्ली, शिवराज गोज टू ऑफिस, शिवराज गोज टू स्लीप एट 10, शिवराज वेक्स अप एट 11. ऐसे करके मैं शिवराज शिवराज वापस वापस बोलो तो थोड़ा बोरिंग हो जाता है सेंटेंस, करेक्ट. बट इंस्टेड
Yes,
इफ आई
ma'am.
यूज द वर्ड्स लाइक ही, शी, इट, सेंटेंस थोड़ा सा इन्हांस हो जाता है, करेक्ट. सो टू अवॉइड द अननेसेसरी यूजेज ऑफ आर नाउन्स वी यूज प्रोनाउंस. Okay, now adjectives are the words which we use to give more meaning about nouns and pronouns, or we can say in grammatical terms to qualify nouns or pronouns. For example, now I can say Shivraj is a boy, but if I have to use an adjective, I will say Shivraj is an intelligent boy. So the word intelligent over here tells me what kind of a boy Shivraj is. Correct? So that is our adjective over here. Understood what are adjectives?
Yeah.
Okay.
और उसको ये उसके आइडेंटिफाई कर रहा है कि शोहरत की वो क्या है, उसके पास
आइडेंटिफाई,
क्या
हाँ,
है.
मुझे उसकी क्वालिटी, मेरी हिंदी मतलब उसकी क्वालिटी आइडेंटिफाई कर रहा है. ओके, व्हेन आई से शिवराज इज एन इंटेलिजेंट बॉय. जस्ट गिव मी 1 second. ओके शिवराज, जस्ट 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, next over here we
Right.
have possessives. Now what do we mean by possessives? पजेसिव, हम पजेसिव बॉयफ्रेंड वाला नहीं बोल रहे हैं यहाँ पर, ठीक है. पजेसिव्स आर नथिंग बट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ओनरशिप और समथिंग. ओके,
Owner.
हु द थिंग बिलोंग्स टू, ये बोलने के लिए जो हम वर्ड्स यूज करते हैं उनको हम पजेसिव्स बोलते हैं. नाउ पजेसिव्स आर ऑफ 3 टाइप्स. पजेसिव नाउन्स भी होते हैं, पजेसिव प्रोनाउंस भी होते हैं, एंड पजेसिव एडजेक्टिव्स भी होते हैं. अभी पजेसिव एडजेक्टिव्स समझने के लिए वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर पजेसिव नाउन्स, बिकॉज वी यूज पजेसिव एडजेक्टिव्स टू रिप्लेस द पजेसिव नाउन्स. पजेसिव प्रोनाउंस भी इंपॉर्टेंट है बट वो हम बाद में कभी देखेंगे, अभी नहीं देखेंगे. ओके, possessive nouns. Possessive nouns are nothing but whenever we use the apostrophe s. For example, over here you can see Tom is
Tom.
Amy's friend. So ये जो Amy's है ना, apostrophe s, इसको apostrophe बोलते हैं. ठीक है, you can
हाँ.
see the screen ना, you can see my cursor, correct?
Hmm.
हाँ, so
Yes,
this is called apostrophe. So ये जो apostrophe s है इसको possessive noun बोलते हैं. Okay, so what is this? Basically we are using the apostrophe s with the noun to say ये चीज किसको belong कर रही है. Another example, what is the name of our institute?
Smita classes.
Susmita's classes. Okay, so वहाँ पर भी apostrophe s है, the
Okay.
Susmita's classes. So we have that apostrophe s over there again. Yeah, so that tells us
Yes.
कि ये चीज किसको belong करती है. Okay, now when we talk about apostrophe s, ये हमारे 2 rules हमें पता होने चाहिए. First is we only use possessive nouns with living things. हम नॉन लिविंग थिंग्स के साथ में possessive noun यूज नहीं करते हैं. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई कैन से सुस्मिता's classes, I can say Amy's friend, but I cannot say table's leg. Table is a non-living thing, correct?
Hmm. Yeah.
So I cannot say table's leg. Instead, over there I will use of the leg of the table. ठीक है, that's how I will use it. That's the first rule. सेकेंड रूल, हम एपोस्ट्रॉफी एस कभी भी वर्ड प्लूरल करने के लिए यूज नहीं करते हैं. ओके, फॉर एग्जाम्पल बॉय लिखा है, बॉयज बोलने के लिए आई विल नॉट यूज एपोस्ट्रॉफी एस. सिंगुलर एंड प्लूरल उसकी बात कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. सिंगुलर में हम
हाँ
बॉय
मैम.
बोलेंगे एंड प्लूरल में बॉयज बोलेंगे. तो ओवर देयर वी विल नॉट यूज दिस एपोस्ट्रॉफी, we will just use s. Okay, but if I use apostrophe s, it means boy ka. Okay, this is boy's book, this is that boy's book. ऐसे अगर मुझे बोलना है तो मतलब ये उस लड़के का बुक है, ऐसे बोल रही हूँ मैं, ठीक है. सो दिस इज अ कॉमन स्पेलिंग रूल, स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक दैट एवरीवन डज, ठीक है. So make sure you do not do that. Now possessive adjectives are used to replace the possessive nouns. Now I can say Tom is Amy's friend. Otherwise I can also say Tom is her friend. अगर मुझे एमी ऑलरेडी पता है कौन है तो आई कैन जस्ट से टॉम इज हर फ्रेंड. अंडरस्टूड?
यस मैम.
हाँ, सेम वे आई कैन से शिवराज इज माई स्टूडेंट.
मैम एक डाउट है मेरे को, बस ये एडजेक्टिव के सामने ही लगा देना यस ए फुल.
नाउन
अभी जो भी
नहीं नहीं
नाउन
नहीं,
के आ गया है.
नाउन के ये जो एपोस्ट्रोफी एस है ये प्रॉपर नाउन के आगे आएगा. प्रॉपर नाउन कौन सा
लिविंग
रहता है?
जो लिविंग नेम है अभी.
एक मिनट एक मिनट, यू आर आस्किंग मी अबाउट एपोस्ट्रोफी एस ना?
हाँ हाँ.
हाँ, विच इज पजेसिव नाउन. ओके, पजेसिव नाउन जैसे मैंने बताया वो सिर्फ लिविंग थिंग्स के लिए यूज होंगे, ठीक है. लिविंग थिंग्स के साथ में वी ऑल्सो हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स इट इज यूज्ड विद प्रॉपर नाउन. प्रॉपर नाउन क्या रहता है? नेम्स ऑफ पर्टिकुलर पीपल, प्लेस और थिंग्स.
पीपल.
ओके, फॉर एग्जाम्पल शिवराज, इट्स अ प्रॉपर नाउन, एक पर्टिकुलर पर्सन का नाम है, करेक्ट. बट इफ आई से स्टूडेंट, स्टूडेंट इज अ कॉमन नाउन. या सो वी विल
Yes, ma'am.
मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स वी विल यूज इट विद प्रॉपर नाउन. कभी कभी कॉमन नाउन्स के साथ में भी यूज करते हैं, बट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम आई वुड से कि ये प्रॉपर नाउन के साथ में यूज होता है, ठीक है. समझ गए?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, तो ये
हाँ.
नाउन को ही अटैच्ड आएगा. सो दिस इज अ पजेसिव नाउन. अभी ये जो हम देख रहे हैं वो पजेसिव एडजेक्टिव है. अभी हम पजेसिव नाउन को पजेसिव एडजेक्टिव के साथ में रिप्लेस कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर, ठीक है. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग एमी, जैसे हम नाम रिपीट नहीं करना चाहते ना वापस वापस, उसीलिए प्रोनाउंस यूज करते हैं, तो सेम वे यहाँ पर भी हमें नाउन अगेन अगेन यूज नहीं करना है, तो इसके लिए हम एडजेक्टिव यूज कर रहे हैं. आई कैन से टॉम इज हर फ्रेंड. या so the words that we use over here are my, your, his, her, its, our and their. For example, my name is Beth, she is my friend, he is my student. That's how we will use it. Yeah. Now one rule that you should know over here, that whenever we use possessive adjective we need a noun after it. हम सिर्फ ये नहीं बोल सकते this is my, ये इनकरेक्ट इंग्लिश हो गया. ओके, आई विल से दिस इज माई बुक, दिस इज माई फोन, दिस इज माई पेन. सो यू नीड दैट ऑब्जेक्ट ओवर देयर, यू नीड दैट नाउन ओवर देयर, ठीक है. समझ गए?
Yes, ma'am.
थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट लगेगा बट रिवाइज करो अच्छे से. आई नो आज के लिए बहुत सारे रूल्स हमने देखे हैं, बट दिस वाज द लास्ट रूल, ठीक है. बिकॉज इट्स अ फर्स्ट क्लास ना, तो इंट्रोडक्शन में क्या होता है ना, बहुत सारी चीज़ें आ जाती है, बहुत सारे कॉन्सेप्ट्स क्लियर करने होते हैं. आगे जैसे जाएंगे तो थोड़ा इजी होते जाता है. एज दिस इज द फर्स्ट सेशन वी हैव लॉट ऑफ इंट्रोडक्टरी रूल्स दैट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. इसके लिए थोड़ा सा आज का ज़्यादा लगेगा, बट डोंट गेट कन्फ्यूज्ड, ठीक है. नाउ क्विकली राइट डाउन द रूल्स एंड राइट डाउन, स्क्रीनशॉट्स नहीं चाहिए, बुक में लिखो,
ठीक है.
ठीक है. वो स्क्रीनशॉट में से फोन में ही रह जाते हैं.
ठीक है मैम. ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂಕು ಅವಹಾರ ಅವಲ್ಲ.
Please mute yourself, Shivraj, and write fast. Tell me once you're done writing.
ಅದನ್ನೇ. ಹಲೋ ಹಲೋ ಹಲೋ
Yes,
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
I have changed the slide. Write this also quickly.
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Yes, next slide. Write down this rule
Yes.
quickly.
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Okay, next slide. Write it quickly.
Yes, ma'am. Done, ma'am. Hello.
Yes. Try doing this exercise now. You have to use the same rules that we just studied. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Uh, हेलो मैम. इस मैम एक्सरसाइज राइट करना है क्या?
Just write down the answers for now. Okay?
ओके मैम.
Yeah. Sorry. I have my auntie who has come here.
यस मैम, आई डन.
So that's the reason all the disturbance. That's why I muted myself. Yeah.
ओके.
Okay. Done with the exercise?
यस मैम.
Okay. Tell me the answers. Now, when you tell me the answers, you have to read the whole sentences. Okay?
शिवराज. माय नेम इज
Hmm?
माय नेम इज शिवराज.
हाँ
ये
हाँ
मैम
हाँ हाँ.
इसमें मेरा नाम.
नहीं, जो यहाँ पर दिया है वही करना है. ओके? वही बोलना है.
ओके.
माय नेम इज मारिको किमुरा. Okay, I will do the first one for you. My name is Mariko Kimura. I am from Japan. My family is in Osaka. My brother is a university student. Now here we are talking about his brother. Okay, so he will say his name is Kenji. Understood?
यस मैम.
Now do the second one same way quickly.
1 minute मैम, 1 minute.
Okay, do one thing. Take a screenshot of this. Do this exercise in homework. We'll discuss this tomorrow. Okay?
ओके ओके मैम. सही है, टिप
Yeah?
काट गई. या मैम.
Yeah?
कैन आई हियर मैम? या
Okay,
या.
we will stop over here for today. We will continue tomorrow. I will
ओके
share one vocabulary exercise in the group. Okay, make sure you do it before tomorrow's class. Yeah?
ओके मैम. ओके.
Any question, anything that you did not understand in today's session?
Yeah, yeah, ma'am. I have doubt on this exercise.
Okay,
1
try
minute,
doing
ma'am.
it first and then we'll discuss it tomorrow. ठीक है?
ओके मैम. मैम इसमें क्या करना है कि इसमें ये हेल्पिंग वर्ब भी डालना है कि बस उसमें जो ये पीछे वाले एक्सरसाइज.
Helping verb. हेल्पिंग वर्ब,
अच्छा.
पजेसिव एडजेक्टिव्स, जो भी चाहिए, जो अभी आज हमने जो जो रूल्स देखे हैं ना, उस हिसाब से जो भी चाहिए वो आपको फिल इन द ब्लैंक करना है वहाँ पर. ठीक है?
ओके मैम. ओके मैम. ओके.
अंडरस्टूड?
यस मैम.
Yeah, try doing that for homework and we'll continue tomorrow. Clear?
ओके मैम. ओके. ओके मैम.
Chalo.
सेम टाइम राइट?
Yes, same time. And 1 hour before the
ओके.
class, we confirm the class. Okay, you have to
ओके.
say yes, I will attend, or no, I will not attend if you are not available on any particular day. Clear?
ओके मैम. यस
Yeah.
मैम.
Okay. Chalo. Bye bye then.
या.
See you tomorrow.
थैंक यू मैम.
No
सी यू
problem.
टुमारो.